Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 49 of the More in You podcast. I'm so excited. Today is a phenomenal day. As you know, I only have phenomenal guests on this podcast. And so I have a brother in the house. He's going to be introducing himself in a minute. I can see he's smiling. But guess what? You're welcome. So get your friend, get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee. If you need some popcorn, whatever you need, let's get into this conversation of the More in You podcast. Are we ready? Yes, we are. So welcome, Komi Marvin. You're welcome to the More in You podcast.
Wow. Thank you so much. Good evening from the beautiful island of Cyprus. I'm really glad and blessed to be here today. And I know this has really been a platform that has transformed and changed so many lives. And I'm really happy and privileged to be a part of what God is doing through this platform. Thank you so much once more for bringing me on your platform. I always say that platforms like this is your altar. If you're a pastor, this is like your pulpit, right?
Yeah.
And you don't just bring anybody to speak on your pulpit. There has to be some track record that you've seen that will validate you bringing somebody to speak on your pulpit. So I'm really grateful that I've been able to pass that test to be here today. Thank you so much.
I love that.
You're
welcome. We're going to be talking about he had this phenomenal book. And I remember when I first saw that book, the first thing that came to me was the title, Unmute Yourself. I'm like, I think because it was also the era of Zoom, a lot of Zoom meetings. And people will start talking maybe on a Zoom and then you're hearing, you're muted, like unmute.
Very true.
That is such an inspiration, like to just hear just have a book called Unmute Yourself. So today he's going to be sharing with us, how to unmute yourself to your waiting word. He's going to be sharing with us tips on how to unmute yourself. So, before we get into that, I always like to tell my guys, introduce yourself informally. Let's get to meet the person behind the face, behind the voice.
Okay, thank you so much. This is always one part of the interview that I shrink away from, because there's a lot about me, a lot about me. But I always just like to see myself as someone working in purpose. And let me start with my name formally. My name is Komi Marvin. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a young man. I studied electrical engineering, and also right now I'm doing my master's in telecommunication and electronics engineering here in Cyprus. And I am very passionate about moving in the path of my purpose. And also, I am also big on helping others discover what it is that is their life purpose. Because so many years ago, which is, I think in the course of this session, we'll talk about it. So many years ago, God told me that part of what he wants me to do is to help others discover their purpose, right? So it's always a thing of joy when I see people come my way and I help them discover what it is that God wants them to do. And just a bit diversion. Many a times I find people that come to me are always people that are confused. You find people that are low estate. And some point in my life, I was always asking God, why is it that it's always this type of people you send my way? You don't send people that are established, people that are
people that know what they're doing.
Exactly. Why do you always bring these people my way? And that was when I remembered what he told me, that part of what he has sent me to do is to help people discover their purpose, the same way he helped me. So that has been an exciting journey for me, and it's just always getting better and better every day. God says, it's commonly said, I think it's also in the Bible, it says, wherever there is a vision, there's always a provision to that vision. Yeah. Whenever God gives you a commission, he gives you provision to aid in that commission. So he has been providing the wisdom, the consistency, and everything he needs to just fund the purpose that he has given to me. So that's a bit about me.
He's a man of purpose. That's the biggest takeaway from his introduction. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to ask another question that I love to ask my guests is, can you tell us 2 fun facts about you? that we don't know?
Oh, fun facts about me. Okay. I like food.
You know how many guests I've had on this show that tell me that I like food. I'm like, why this food thing?
Yeah, I love food so much, but it's quite unfortunate it doesn't show on my body. I'm a very slim person, but
it will catch up eventually as you get older.
I pray so. But I love food so much, and sorry, not just food, but there's a particular food in Africa, in Nigeria, where I come from, that is highly celebrated, especially in my tribe, which is gari.
That's what my children don't like it one bit. They're like, no, I don't want that, but mommy, no.
I love it so much. Even here in Europe, I can't do 1 week without it.
Wow, without having it.
I can. So that's something I think is very exciting about. There are so many other things, but I prioritize food very much. So let me just go with this.
And the second one, you have two. You have to give us two.
Okay. The second fun fact, is there any other fun fact about myself that I can share? I think food is one of my very biggest inspirations.
Okay, so we'll just let their food cover for the two of them.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. So as we get into this conversation, I want to ask you a really interesting question. Where did that name, because this podcast is called the More in You podcast, and really why it is, because I remember that there was this verse that God showed to me in a particular version. It's Romans 8:19 from the Passion Translation. It says the entire universe is standing on tiptoe. They're earnestly waiting for the unveiling of God's glorious sons and daughters. And I remember I saw that verse and I could not get over it. And I said, they're standing on tiptoe. That means that they're waiting. But they're waiting. A lot of people are not even realizing that their world is waiting on them. We don't realize. We're still thinking, I don't have enough. I haven't done this. I know there's so many excuses. And that was me as well, so many years ago. So what made you think of writing a book called Unmute Yourself? What's the story behind it?
Powerful question. Thank you so much, Mom. Okay, let me start this way. I remember so many years ago, I knew there was so much I could do. I knew I had so much abilities in me. I knew there were so many things I can do that were just boiling inside of me. When I see people doing them, I admire them strongly. I knew I could do this, but it wasn't just finding expression. There was no place of it showing up. It's just myself. I know I can do this. Maybe a few persons around me knew, Marvin, you can do this. But there was no expression to my gifts, my purpose, and my talents. And also, I always give this scenario. Imagine being on a Zoom call or in a Zoom room, and someone is dissipating so much energy, speaking with so much energy, with a lot of gesticulations and all that, but just to forget that he or she has not unmuted the mic. That means everything, all the strength, the energy is all wasted. So I always say that was me so many years ago. I knew I had so much abilities. They were bubbling inside of me, but there was no expression to it. So the book Unmute Yourself is actually the journey from where I was to the person God has helped me to become today. So that's the journey is what is now inside the book called Unmute Yourself. And I know there are a lot of persons that find themselves in that space where they know there is more to their life. This can't be it. They are tired of the status quo. They're tired of their earth state and wherever it is they find themselves, and they know there got to be more about my life. But it's not just finding expression. So that is exactly the problem this book is out to solve. And I'm so glad that just in a short while, it's not up to a year now, but just in a short while the book has existed, it has saved and helped so many persons walk through that journey already. I've gotten a lot of testimonies. The book is presently available in 4 continents now of the world, and it's blessing a lot A lot of life. I
A
have
lot of
a
life.
copy here with me.
Yes, it's on Amazon. People, you can get a copy.
Exactly.
At least I know it's on Amazon.
Exactly. So it has really, really been a journey for me, and I know a lot of persons has been blessed through me sharing my story and also my experience so far. So that's the whole frame behind the name Unmute Yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. There's a question I also want to ask, because when you think of that, there's so much in you. You want to unmute, you want the world to hear. What happens if we don't unmute ourselves? I want us to kind of talk a little bit about that. What are the consequences? Because I always say it's not really only about us. Like we were almost conversing before we started before we started off the podcast before. It's not always about us. I want us to just go into that, because we're talking about, you talk about purpose, I also talk about purpose. And really, what is the reason why we need to even unmute ourselves? What's the purpose?
Thank you so much. Firstly, let me start it this way. Imagine if Jesus came on earth and decided to be a footballer.
Okay, that's the whole thing.
That's one of the fastest way I answer that question. And also imagine if someone like let me go home a bit in Africa, someone like Nelson Mandela. Imagine if he turned his back and decided to do something else, right?
I said that I can't be bothered to go to prison. I can't go and waste my life for 27 years.
Exactly. So there are so many lives and destiny that is tied to one person. So when you look at yourself, don't look at yourself as just an entity. That is a very selfish way of just looking at yourself. There are so many lives that are connected to your existence. That the moment you are able to shine your light, you give so many other persons the opportunity to shine their lights. You become a platform, a stage for others to stand on and also express themselves. Just like the Bible says that in your light we see light, right? So in the full expression of your own purpose and your abilities, you being able to unmute yourself, others are able to see that light and as well follow that path. So the Bible says he gave a word to Jacob, and just one person, one man, Jacob, the word lighted the whole of Israel.
Can you imagine?
So that's the power of you unmuting yourself. So you need to unmute yourself because there are so many destinies tied to you. You are not alone. You're not alone. If you don't rise, so many will also fail. Your family, your nation, your continent, and even the world at large. So there is so much tied to you that you can't afford to remain down. You can't afford to live a muted life, a life of mediocrity. No, you can't afford it. You are so blessed to should I say die poor. You are so blessed to just die empty and die with everything down. You have so much. You have so much to give to the world. So everybody needs to unmute themselves. Yes. And also, I always tell people that we don't have 600 years to be here on earth.
I was just going to talk about that. I was going to ask you a question about that. It's true, we don't have the whole eternity to be here. We're only here for
exactly. So the time to unmute yourself and release your flavor to the world is now, not tomorrow. It's now. Now is the time, not tomorrow.
It is. Another thing that drew me into that book was I'm actually writing I just finished a book. It's called Masterpiece, Not Mass Produced. 8 Ways to Unleash Your Flavor to Your Waiting World. And so it was just I was just reminded. I'm like, wow, this is so important. And you know why I shared that? Because often we think that if I don't share what God has put on the inside of me, somebody else will do the work. Sometimes we say that there are enough coaches, there are enough singers, there are enough any spirit that God has called us. So we believe that there are enough people in there, forgetting that there is a flavor that God has given each one of us. And that flavor is needed. All the flavors are needed. All the flavors are needed to bring to our world. People
you know what, ma'am? We have you're in North America, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in North America, we have a lot of snow there as fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here in Cyprus, we have very minimal
You have
snow.
beautiful sunshine.
Yeah. And a lot of historic environment that has to do with the Bible. We have a lot of historic environments here in Cyprus. Yeah, so the snow that falls, we have millions of snowflakes that makes up what we call the snow today. They have trillion, uncountable of them as well. So there are so many of them. And as tiny as those snowflakes are, they are in crystals. As tiny as they are, no two of them is the same.
Wow.
No two of them. And you can imagine the zillions, billions of them we have that become snow that fills up the streets and everywhere. No two of them is the same. That's to tell you the power of uniqueness and how God made everybody unique. Everybody. So you have a flavor that only you can release to the world. Only you. And for you mentioned music, gospel music artists. For example, we have someone like Frank Edward. We have Nathaniel Bassey.
We have Sinach. Everybody's flavor is all different. You have Message. How many can you count? There's too many.
You can't even stop counting. And there are times you just want to listen to Nathaniel Bassey.
Yeah.
You know that this particular
this is what I need.
Yes, I need Nathaniel Bassey. Like for myself, for the past few weeks now, God have just led me to the place of Victoria Orenze, and she has just been blessing me with that sound. It has just been playing. Even before we started, I just had to pause, and after now we'll continue. So there are times this is who I need to listen to. There are times this is the other person I need to listen to. So that's the power of uniqueness. Everybody has a flavor to drop.
Everybody.
The other person's own does not intimidate your own in any way. It's a lie. And there are also people that you can reach with your giftings and your purpose that the other person cannot reach. Thank you. No matter how big and famous that person is, there are some persons that doesn't even know him. They don't know them.
And they might not even want to listen to that person.
Thank you. They are only drawn to you. Don't forget that in the beginning I said there are people that your destiny is connected. It is highly spiritual. It has nothing to do with you. It's just how God designed it. Right? Wow. So everybody has something to give. You have something to give. Everybody has. Yeah.
So somebody listening, thinking, I don't have anything. Or sometimes people just say, oh, but I'm introverted. I always say, but even if you're introverted, there are ways that God will lead you in ways that you need to, that you can bring that flavor. God will lead you. True. Even if you're introverted. Because sometimes people think it's just extroverted people. I said, no, there are other, there's a lady she's on Instagram. She actually is a coach for the introverted. And the day I saw that, I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Like, you would think there would be someone like that. But she's realized that there are people like her that might find it difficult to bring their message to the world. So now she begins to, maybe there are things that she has learned how to. Now she begins to teach it to the world to help them to bring their own message. Wow.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing that. I want us to go into what are practical ways that we can, what are some of the practical ways that you can give us that we can help us to unmute ourselves? What are some practical ways?
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to share like maybe 2 or so or thereabout practical ways. There are more in my book. Thank you so much. But I'm going to really share the ones that really helped me. I'm going to share them just for the sake of this podcast. The first of which is, we live in a very, very noisy world. There's a lot of noise in this world, a lot. Not just the noise of motor cars and all that, but also internal noise. Internal noise, and also noise in the mind because of your experiences and just what I feel. The stress of life, is a lot of noise to the mind. So one of the ways that we can truly unmute ourselves, and it happened to me also. I remember when I went in search for purpose, and when we talk about unmuting yourself, it starts with purpose. Yeah. So one of the things I did that was really very practical that I know someone should do is I took time to shut down.
Okay.
I had to shut down. It was a 2 months experience for me. I had to stay away from social media. I even stayed away from family. It's quite a very difficult thing to do. I stayed away from friends, from many other things I was engaged in, and I just took time to abide, to just abide in God, and just get to hear from Him. Because it got to a point where I was really fed up. I knew there was more to my life. There was truly, truly more. It really needs to find expression. So I had to shut down for 2 months, have time for just myself and God. Went there with just 2 books and a lot of time to pray. And also, you know, when most people pray, you think prayer is just a one-way thing. No, prayer is a two-way thing.
Two-way thing.
Exactly. You pray and then you wait to hear from Him. You wait to hear from Him. Because there's a reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Yes. So you listen even more than you speak. Right? So I had time to pray and also had time to wait and listen to what God has to say concerning my life. And it was in that season of my life. It was a very amazing season in my life, because that was when I was in my undergraduate, and at that point in my life, I was staying in a mud house. When I mean mud house, I'm not sugarcoating it. It was a mud house.
A real mud house.
Yes, at that time, because when I got into school, my family had a bit of financial crisis then, and it was really rough on me. It affected me, just me, not even my siblings, because they were living good lives when their town to go into school came. But mine, there was an interruption, and I believe it was a divine plan by God to really, really help me. And so I had to shut down for 2 months and just glean and listen to God. And it was in that season of my life that I received visions and instructions that I'm still running on today. That has helped me throughout my life. And every vision God gave me to establish then still stands till today. It was a very powerful and a kairos moment in my life. And I'm always grateful to God that I listened to Him and I gave that time of my life to that activity. So one of the most important things we do, if you really want to unmute yourself, you need to spend time, sit down, shut down from every noise, and have time to sit with God. Because He's our manufacturer. He's the only one that can truly release what it is that's your purpose to do. So you have time to sit with Him, and in that moment you get a divine instruction that will help you. That's one of the practical steps I took. And another thing that helped me when it comes to unmuting myself that I did was to invest in myself.
That's another big one.
Yeah, I always say that people don't invest in themselves because they don't find themselves to be a profitable venture. Yeah. Because before you invest in real estate, you must have done due diligence and find out that I will get the return of investment that I invest. So some people look at themselves and say, why let's spend 200,000 to attend a seminar. Me, what
are they going to teach me that I don't know?
Thank you. They know what am I going? How is it going to come out, right? So there's a lot of speculation in that space. People don't invest in themselves, like I said, because they don't see themselves to be profitable enough that I can't provide or produce the profits of what I invested in myself. But that's a very big lie, because there is so much that you can bring out of yourself. So it was a space in my life where I had to invest in myself. I remember during my NYSC, it's always a very profound one. I think they were paying us about 20,000 there about them. And then I took the whole of that money and I went to buy books. I bought books even more than 25 or there about 1,000. And when I bought those, my friend was like, Marvin, why are you buying all these books with all this money, this little money they are paying us? They're using it to buy books.
They don't understand.
I said, don't worry. I told him, don't worry.
If these books can get into me.
Exactly. I said, just give me some time and you'll see what you see what my life would look like. So we need to invest in ourselves. When you take time to intentionally invest in yourself, you'll be shocked at how your life will turn out to be a sign and a wonder. Right? So these are very two practical ways of how you can unmute yourself. Because I always tell people that unmuting yourself is more of a journey than an end point in itself. More of a journey than an end point. Because I find people a lot of time asking me, Marvin, what exactly can you point that you have unmuted yourself?
Like I tell people, purpose is a journey. People don't realize. It's a journey. You start. In fact, I was saying to somebody yesterday, I was speaking to somebody yesterday, I said, when we start, we don't even know, we don't even see the end of the journey. God starts you off on the journey. And then as you are, it's almost like the way he said to Abraham, leave your father's house. If God had showed Abraham Isaac in the middle, Abraham said, God, I don't want this. I don't want to go. Keep this your promise. I don't. But if you showed him all the obstacles, although if you showed him the well, he might have said, okay, maybe I'll go. But if you showed him the obstacles, he would have said, I don't want to. But God kept that. He just said, leave. And as he left on that instruction of leave, guess what? The journey, it began to unravel the journey. So I found that with purpose, it just showed, because you know that we cannot comprehend it with our little mind. We cannot comprehend what it's going to do. We cannot comprehend that journey. You can't even comprehend how much you're going to grow. If somebody had showed me, I started my journey, I think it was in 2015, that I really started to see God and asking, what have you created me to do? Beyond just going to work and coming home. And I don't think I could have seen today the people that have been able to influence and impact. I don't think I would have seen it. Because I could not even comprehend where I was. I didn't even see the growth that was made. I didn't even see the challenge I was going to have to pass through. I didn't even see how much capacity I was going to have to increase. And I would not have been able to understand it. But when you start on that journey, you are committed to starting. And then you take it step by step.
Line after line, precept
that is it.
Precept.
And I find that the more you increase capacity, the more he gives to you to do. Exactly. The more you increase capacity, because he knows what you can handle. So if you cannot handle it, you're like, no, this one is not ready. So when you increase, then now you can do more. Now you will not, and so we will never really know the end of the journey. I guess we just keep on growing, and that's why we must keep on investing in ourselves. So those two keys, our stories are similar. They're like things that have really helped me as well. For example, with me, purpose, like I said, I said, God, what have you created me to? I'm tired of this every day. I knew that there was more, but you don't know where the more is. And I remember that day I said to God, why have you not told me? I had done so many vocations, I'd done a lot of things. Why didn't you tell me before now? He said, because you never asked.
Wow.
That thing scared me. I said, so when we never ask, he would just let us be doing what we want to do until we ask. Then he says, okay, now you want to know, I will show you. And I was like, wow. And I found that even this journey of being intentional, this journey of growing, if you don't commit to it, sorry, you are not ready to invest in yourself. Who's going to invest in you? So like you said, so everyone wants somebody to come and invest in them, but they are not ready to pay the price. So if you're not ready to pay the price, how is somebody else going to pay the price? Like, it's not possible. So we must first do the work, and then other people see the work that we're doing, and then that work now begins to attract people.
Very true.
People are now drawn to us and say, okay, I really see what you're doing. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm going to ask you a question as we round this up. For a lot of young people today, because I see that so much. That's one other way we're actually talking about this. That, like you said, there's so much noise. So even as we pull away, which is so important, sometimes we even need to learn to pull away. If you are distracted by so many things, just pull away from everything. But for a lot of young people that are listening, I just think that because you're a young person, there are some keys that you've developed, that you found out. What happens when you get entwined or entangled in the midst of all just going with the trends? I want us to just kind of quickly just throw that in. What happens when you don't let God, really, you don't take time to discover your purpose. You don't take time to find out what is calling you to do as a person. You don't leverage on your uniqueness. I know you're just following the trends. What could be the end result of it? Or vice versa, what could happen if you do the other way around? I don't know if it makes sense.
The end result, disaster.
He didn't even sugarcoat it.
No, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Just say it as this. The end product of it is disaster. You know, the goal is not to be busy, but to be effective. Yes, that's the goal. Because a lot of young people all they need is validation. They just want to be in a community, just want to be with people to see that they belong. And that's mostly what I see amongst young people today. And they don't really care to know, is this thing aligned to my purpose? They don't care. So far, I'm amongst my friends. I feel safe, and people I can call my friends and all that. That's just what young people are facing right now, and just friends, just wants to feel just the feeling of validation. That feeling that comes with validation. That's a lot. I've spoken with a lot of people. Just the people I find around myself that are young people that I see are really fair enough. And you find out that what really drove them to what they are doing is mostly a feeling of validation. Because we live in a world of depression right now. A lot of young people are depressed, and the drive to wave that off and be validated by people, be seen by people, be appreciated by people, make them rush into associations that are not helping them at all, and end up destroying them. I hope I'm in the line of your question.
You are perfectly there. In fact, you are perfectly in line. Yeah.
Okay. So they end up moving in a path that is totally against their purpose, and that's why I mentioned shut down.
Yeah.
Because one of the greatest tools that is distracting young people these days is social media.
Social media.
I tell you, I'm a young person, so I know what I'm saying.
And that's why I'm asking you that question. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So the media is a great tool that is destroying, especially we that grew up with it. It came in our time.
No, at least we didn't even grow up with it, and we still have to. And maybe that's actually the difference, because with us, I would tell my children, I say, you know what? You need to know there's a time to shut down. Like there's a time to shut. Sometimes I go on there, I see some things, I'm just like, put it down, go do some other things. But sometimes I find with young people, they just can't shut down. They're just immersed. It's a world. And that's why I'm actually asking you that question, because you've been able to deal with it and grow. Exactly. And if you're able to grow, so that's why I was asking that question. And truly, you've really answered it. Just learning to know when to shut down and knowing when to,
Exactly, because the social media is a great tool of distraction in our age. And it's not just a distraction again, it has even grown to become a portal. A portal that the devil uses to infiltrate lives. To infiltrate lives. Because one place that the media appeals to is the mind.
Is the mind,
and we know how powerful the mind is. The mind is a gateway. The mind is a gateway to your soul, to your spirit. And when something gets into your soul and your spirit, it has taken over.
It has taken over your whole entire being.
Exactly. So that is why it is very necessary that we shut down as young people. Have time to stay away from these things, and like I said, go in search of what your life demands. Go in search of what it is that God wants you to do. The gift of good associations, good friends, is something we can never trade. We can never trade off. We can never trade. Like myself, I don't have so many friends. I don't have so many. I'm not even in the drive of having so many friends. I have a lot of acquaintances.
We don't need so many friends. The more friends,
especially this age. Thank you. I have a lot of
acquaintances are fine. Yes, the acquaintances. Yeah. But friends, whereby they are inner circle, they are close. No. Because you're going to have to commit to that relationship. You're going to have to give to that relationship. And if you're not careful, if you're like Jim Rohn says, if you're not, you're going to be the average of the 5 closest people to you. So if you're not in alignment, what's going to happen to you? So as it is in their life, we begin to see in your own life as well.
Very true. So I'm really very selective of those I bring into my space as my friends. I really have to vet you with so many statistics.
And it's so important to do that.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So friends are very powerful tools, are very powerful part of our lives that we must put in check. As young people, must be intentional about those you bring into your space. Because I've seen a lot of people that were doing extremely well. We were on par, we were moving together, but just few people came into their lives. As young people, there are just one or two persons that came into their life and totally destroyed them, totally derailed them, and they are right now, they are a shadow of who they used to be before.
Who they used to be.
Totally a shadow of who they used to be.
Wow.
So these are things young people must be wary of. You must really be wary of. Open your eyes and be very intentional about those that come into your space. Nobody forces themselves into your space. You should.
God who is coming in.
Exactly. Very, very intentional about those you bring.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all those nuggets. So I'm going to ask you to give us your last words. Before I ask you how we can find you, we'll get your last words and then you tell us how we can find you. You tell us a little bit about 360-degree leadership, which you didn't mention. Give us the last words and then you tell us about that.
Okay, thank you so much. My last words is just like I always say, we don't have 600 years to be here on earth. So the little time you have here to be, make the best use of it. In fact, in these times, life expectancy is even reducing every day because of the food we eat, the lifestyle we have come to imbibe, and just a lot of environmental factors is reducing life expectancy. So the little time you have here to be, make the greatest use of it. The earlier you discover your purpose, discover who you are, and you move in line with it, the best. And I always tell young people that we are highly privileged because you can only be young once, just once.
Yes.
And if you don't make the right use of it, it's really going to affect. Exactly. It's really going to affect the rest of the span of your life. So the young stage of your life is the stage of discovery and also the stage for action. Take the right step in the right direction. And just like we mentioned, you should know that you are not just here on yourself alone. There are a lot of persons that are tied to you. When you shine your light, you give others the privilege to shine as well. Even in your family, it's not just an external thing. Even in your own very family, when you are able you're able to shine your light, your siblings as well, you see a very good example to follow. Your siblings see you as a good example, and that's something I've always asked God to help me with, that I will always be a good example first to my siblings. At least now that I'm not married, I could say my children, but first right now, my siblings.
Right now,
those that are directly under me. And also in extension to those God has connected to my destiny. So I always tell people the time to start is now. Time to start is now.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
That there can't be a better closing. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have you here. Very privileged.
Thank you.
So tell us a few things about the things that you do, apart from engineering, the things that you do in line with purpose. Tell us a bit about that. And then how we can find you, how people can find you as well. And then I'll put those in the show.
Okay, thank you so much. So I am the team leader of 360 Leadership Network. I'm the team leader and the founder by the grace of God. And I am the founding president, just a bit of things. I'm a founding president of Christian Fellowship of Engineering Students as well, the body of Christian engineers back in Nigeria. Yeah. So at 360 Leadership Network, we are just motivated to raise a tribe of well-rounded leaders, raise a tribe of young people that will live and lead with natural excellence, right? So also part of purpose discovery, these are just things we do. We have a tribe, we have a team, we have a tribe of people, we have a community, we have young people that we train, we teach, I'm a mentor. And also in extension, I have young people I'm also training, also here in Canada as well. And I meet with every week and just train. So these are part of what I do, and also my books. I'm also working on another book right now, the second book. Yeah, that will be out by next year, by the grace of God. I should be publishing it by next year. Yeah, so that's basically what I do and who I am, and also what we do in 360. And also 360 right now we're doing what we call Young People Today. It's a program where we bring up different tribes to talk about exactly talk about how you build for the future, how do you prepare for the future as a young person. And it's really been amazing, just different perspective from people, and at the end of the day coming up with a final perspective that can help us all to lead a responsible life. So, and also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very, very passionate lover of God. I believe so much in who Jesus is, and also his assignment to the world. Yeah.
He's our example. He lived an intentional life. We don't have an excuse not to live it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow. And on Instagram, how can we find you?
Okay,
Give us your
on
handles
Instagram
as well. Handles, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whichever other platforms you're on. Let us just hear it.
Okay, thank you so much. I think the easiest way is to go to my website. I have a website, www.komimarvin.com.
Okay.
Yeah, just very simple. Komi, Komi, Marvin, MARVIN.com. Then if you go there, if you scroll down, you see my social media handles on Facebook, Instagram. On Facebook, I am Komi Marvin Nenubari. And on Instagram, I am just Komi_Marvin. On LinkedIn, Komi Nenubari Marvin. Yeah.
But we can find everything on your website.
Exactly. Go to my website to access all of them through there.
Okay. Wow.
You can also be able to buy my books as well. If you go to the website, you see the column where you can get my books as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I want to say thank you. I can't say thank you enough, but thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for listening, for watching. I'll be back next week. But this is all for today. Thank you, everyone. Bye.